Hey, I'm Ryan.
I'm Jud.
We're back with our Bedlam Gaming. This is the last E3 conference we're going to be talking about, so this is our last live stream for right now. I'm not sure when the next time we'll do a live stream, if anything, is going to be. But we just watched Nintendo's presentation, and we'll go over what it was. Now, their presentation was short, which we knew about beforehand. It was about 25 minutes. I would have liked it to have been longer and to have more games in it, but it did have a number of good games in the presentation. They didn't really cover. They mentioned at one point that they have a bunch of third-party games coming, but they didn't talk about any of them really. I mean, there are a couple of third-party games they talked about, but they mentioned having multiple third-party multiplayer games on the way this year and didn't talk about them. It was very much focused on games made by Nintendo themselves. And I'm sure that they're doing the Treehouse presentation right now. I'm sure they'll reveal more things because they didn't even talk about 3DS at all.
No, not at all.
And this was very Switch focused. So they opened with game montage video opening. It had ARMS in it and Rocket League, Pokken Tournament Deluxe, Splatoon, FIFA. Which they didn't mention FIFA during this presentation either.
No, they didn't.
But we do know FIFA's coming to the Switch this year. So the first trailer they showed was for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which we heard was coming when they announced the Switch information. And it's still on track to be holiday 2017. I have still not played Xenoblade or Xenoblade Chronicles X, so I do want to go back and play those. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I haven't gotten those. So that's where my interest in the game lies. It looks like it would be good. I'm sure fans of the series would have more of an idea, and I'm pretty sure it's not really necessarily tied directly story-wise to the other games, but I'm sure fans of the series would know if it looks like it's something for them. After that, they showed a trailer for Kirby for 2018. It just said Kirby.
Yeah, just Kirby.
It looks like it's definitely 4-player co-op. It was different. They had 4-player co-op on the Kirby game on the Wii, I think it was, but that was set up where you played as Kirby, Meta Knight, DDD, and one of those enemies. I can't remember the name. Anyway. Waddle Dee. So this one's set up. It looks like Kirby uses some power to make these enemies join his team, and then you can do multiplayer after they've joined him or something. From the looks of it, he was throwing hearts to the enemies, and then it turned them over to his side. So, but that was Kirby. It looked like a Kirby game, a traditional Kirby game, and I've enjoyed Kirby games in the past, so it's definitely one I would be interested in trying out next year when it comes out. Then they wasted some time, I think, talking with developers about it was short, but they talked about Pokken a little bit, and they did mention working on something about Pokemon for the Switch.
Yeah, a new RPG that they're doing. So I don't know if it's going to be like a full-blown 3D Pokemon game, like the one. I mean, you remember the Coliseum games? They had like short RPG story modes, but it was never like a full-blown 3-dimensional Pokemon game. Who knows?
I wonder if that's what they'll finally do.
They might finally do that.
People have wanted Pokemon on consoles for a long time, and not to just be handheld things. So maybe we'll finally get that, since this is also not just a home console, but you can take it out and use it as a handheld. So maybe they're finally going to do that with Pokemon and take that step that everybody's been waiting on. I know there were a lot of rumors beforehand about people talking about Pokemon Stars was going to be on the Switch. It was going to be Sun, Moon, and Stars. But then when they had the Pokemon Direct a week ago, turns out that was not the case, and they just had the Sun and Moon sequels that are coming out. So
I haven't even played Sun and Moon.
Yeah, I didn't either. I skipped those. So that was where we were at with that. Then we went from that to not even a trailer, but a super exciting announcement that just it came. I guess it was a teaser trailer, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You had space, and then you had like this symbol form, and you could tell it was the S. You knew it was Metroid. You saw the symbol form, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, this is going to be Metroid. What we didn't know what kind of Metroid it was going to be, but then the title appeared, and it's Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah.
Very excited about this, and not just me. I know Jud is.
Oh yeah. I love the Prime series. I haven't beat Prime 3 yet, but 1 and 2 were amazing games.
I know that I'm sure out there a lot of people were worried that it was going to be a while till we ever saw another Metroid after Federation Force, and the disappointment among the Metroid community that caused.
I haven't even played that game. Is it out yet?
Yeah, it's been out.
Oh.
But it didn't bother me that they made Federation Force and they were making this little offshoot game. I mean, it wasn't. It was never supposed to be a mainline Metroid game. It didn't bother me that it got made, but it bothered a lot of people. But hey, there's a Metroid Prime 4 being made.
Yeah.
Do I think it's coming out in 2018? I don't know about that. I don't know how far along they are because they didn't show any footage. I figure if they had anything, they would have shown it.
I imagine Retro's doing it.
Yeah.
But
so it could be
they're done with the Donkey Kong.
If it were, yeah.
For the time being, they'll probably go back to it. But
I would love another Donkey Kong from them because their Donkey Kong games were really, really good. Tropical Freeze was amazing. If it came out next year, it would be towards the end of next year, I would imagine. But I'm guessing this is going to be 2019.
That's such a long time to wait.
It is, but I mean, when they didn't even have footage this year, and you think about it, they're working on it.
It's like
I'm thinking this is at least 2019 coming. I would love for it to come out next year.
Yeah, that'd be good. The Switch could probably use it.
It would be very good for Nintendo if it came out next year.
Yeah.
And maybe they do have footage, but they're just holding stuff back so that next year, because Mario Odyssey, when they showed it at the beginning of this year, nobody had seen it.
Yeah.
And then it's coming out this year, so it could be next year.
It could be.
But they didn't say, they didn't give us a year, so I don't think. But just gave us the title.
Was the Metroid, the last, actual version of Metroid to come out, it was Other M, right?
Yeah, Other M.
Which I didn't beat. Because I kept fearing that I was going to hit that game-ending glitch to where you couldn't go out of that room. So I went kind of far in it, and then I think I got to a point where I just kind of gave up. But it was a fun game. Don't get me wrong, but it was neat, but it was no Metroid Prime. That's for sure.
Yeah. Next, there was a new Yoshi game. I think it just said Yoshi at the title, but I was not paying attention. It was definitely in the style of Woolly World.
Yeah.
So it's a sequel to that, obviously.
Or it could be one of the deluxe versions. Insane.
I don't think it was a deluxe version of the game. It looked like it was a sequel. Comes slated to come out in 2018. Then we had, and I didn't play Yoshi's Woolly World, but it looked like a fun game. I played the Woolly Kirby game. That's what it's called. Yarn. Epic Yarn. Yeah, I played the Yarn Kirby game.
That was a fun game.
So, I mean, I was interested in Woolly World. I just haven't. There's a lot of Wii U games I've not gotten around to buying or playing. So, that's one I definitely would like to check out. Then we went to Fire Emblem Heroes trailer. So there were a number of characters shown off in it. And this is information that's come out already, so we knew that the game was going to heavily feature Awakening characters and characters from Fate's Conquest and Birthright. So, some of the newer games and games from, I think also heavily feature characters from the remake of the first game with Marth, because Marth is the, one of the most marketable characters in Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
I'm hoping there's a lot of, I'm sure there will be a lot of characters that show up that hopefully from some of the other games, but It's mainly those are the games that are going to have most of the focus. I know in the Zelda game, uh, in Hyrule Warriors, which I do have and played a lot of, and it's a lot of fun. Hyrule Warriors has characters from Twilight Princess. I mean, it's got. I'm trying to think of all which ones it has because Ocarina, Twilight Princess, Wind Waker.
Minish Cap.
No, it doesn't have any of the Game Boy.
Oh.
Well, I say that, but it does have. Oh, what's her name from Link's Awakening?
I don't know about that one.
But it's got plenty of characters from many different Zelda titles, and I really hope they'll do a Hyrule Warriors too, and even expand it more, especially with the characters we have now from Breath of the Wild. But Fire Emblem Heroes is definitely a game I'm going to get. It looked good. There was very brief mention of the Skyrim version on the Switch since we saw a little bit of it at Bethesda's conference, and so they didn't really talk about it. But he just mentioned briefly about how it's going to have Link's outfit from Breath of the Wild in it, and the Master Sword is in it.
Sword.
But he only briefly mentioned it before going into the DLC talk for Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild, you should already have information about the first DLC pack that comes out this month, so I don't really want to talk about it. And this is the first time we've heard about the DLC pack 2 that comes out at the end of the year, called The Champion's Ballad. I do not know. That's all we know is what it's called. There's a little trailer for it that had the accordion dude, and
I like him.
I can't remember his name, and but had him, and it showed the elephant beast in the distance. And then we saw Mipha, and we saw all the other champions, and they just announced that that's the name of it is the Champion's Ballad. Now I'm hoping, because we know that this DLC is going to be a story, add to the story of the game. I'm hoping that this DLC is going to be post end of the game DLC, that you're playing more story after you've beaten the game.
That'd be interesting. I still have to beat the game, but
I'm hoping that's what this DLC is going to be, because most of the people who have the game by the end of the year, they will have finished the game. So I think that it would be nice if this DLC is to even expand that story more, especially after if you've got the good ending in the game. I'm hoping that that's kind of what it was teasing. And if you've beaten the game, you know what it is. I'm not going to spoil anything here. They also announced, and I'm sure also with that DLC, even though it's called the Champion's Ballad and they showed that off, it's not. I mean, they've said it's going to have a new dungeon. There's probably going to be even more new costumes like the first pack has. So there's stuff we don't know about. They didn't really give us all the details. They just gave us a name and a little trailer.
Yeah.
They also announced amiibos of the 4 champions. This is something that I actually like amiibos. I know a lot of people hate the physical DLC aspect of it, and they hate it. As somebody who collects toys and figurines, even not using them for their amiibo functionality, I like just having them because I like little toys and Nintendo characters. So I understand the people who have a thing against them for the physical DLC aspect. I mean, I understand where they're coming from. But as for me, I like amiibo. My biggest problem with them is not being able to get certain ones.
I mean, it's Nintendo. Yeah.
So the champions of the amiibos are going to come out of all 4 of them, and they can be used with the DLC and with Breath of the Wild. I'm assuming they're going to have some special function with the DLC since it's about the champions.
Probably
But
most likely, yeah.
Outside of the DLC, I'm sure you can use them to get chests just like you can the rest of the Zelda amiibo.
Yeah, that they would have to. Yeah. I mean, they're with the same game.
So after the DLC announcements, they went into a trailer and information about Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle comes out August 29th. We already told you this because they Talked about it in Ubisoft's conference yesterday.
Which I was a little surprised that they put that in their conference or their video, because Ubisoft already talked about it. Now, granted, they pre-make these
It was very
video packages, but I'm thinking they would have at least had to have coordinated with Ubisoft to know that Ubisoft was going to announce it too. So I would think they could use that time to talk about something else.
At least it was short, because Ubisoft spent a lot of time on it, so we got a lot of details from Ubisoft about it. This was very short, I mentioned. Then they announced Rocket League for the Switch. I have not played Rocket League on my Xbox One, but people that play it apparently have wanted it on the Switch too, or people who don't have other stuff wanted it on the Switch. So it's come out holiday this year, and it looked like it had Nintendo-specific items in the game.
Yeah, because it had a Mario
hat on a car. So it has some bonus stuff just for Nintendo users. And also it has cross-platform play, which is something that I like that they did.
Yep.
I say cross-platform play, at least with the Xbox One. I don't know about PS4 because... what was that other game that has cross-platform play? But
Minecraft.
Yeah, Minecraft has cross-platform play, but not with PS4, just with Xbox One and Switch, and I guess PC.
Yeah.
But...
because Sony has a stick up their butt.
Yeah. But Sony wouldn't do it. So I'm assuming Sony is not in on this Rocket League thing. It's probably just PC, Xbox, and Switch. So, and maybe even 360 has Rocket League. I don't know. So it might be both of those platforms.
Yeah, the Xbox family.
Yeah. In any case, Rocket League will have cross-platform play, which is great for users. That gives you a much wider player base.
That's true.
In the game, and I think that's a great thing. And I'm glad companies like Nintendo and Microsoft are willing to work
with each
together in those instances. I mean, that's great. And they closed out with a trailer for Super Mario Odyssey, and I'm really excited about this game. It looks great. They showed us things we never got in the first trailer from early this year, because they showed one of the main features that you can throw your hat at enemies and objects and possess them.
Yeah.
In Super Mario Demon Possession.
Yeah, demonic possession, Exorcist style.
So, I mean, and like Mario threw his hat at a Goomba, and then the Goomba had the Mario hat on with a mustache. And
they all sprout mustaches.
He threw it at a Bullet Bill, and the Bullet Bill had a mustache.
T-Rex with a little tiny mustache.
Yeah, the T-Rex was funny because at the beginning of the trailer just showed the T-Rex, and I had no idea what game they were showing next. And then all of a sudden it was Mario. It was kind of jarring, and then because it was like a realistic looking T-Rex.
Yeah, it wasn't like a cartoony T-Rex.
Yeah, and then at the end of the trailer he threw the hat at the T-Rex and became the T-Rex.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was really cool. I was like, oh, okay, so you can become anything. He threw it at one of the humans in the city and took over their body.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really cool feature. They were actually showing gameplay off on Treehouse right now, so they're probably showing that off. When they did Zelda last year, they showed Zelda off all day long. So I'm sure they're showing off gameplay of that game today a lot. So they're probably showing stuff with that now. Another really cool thing about this is in New Donk City, which is obviously a Donkey Kong reference. Pauline is the mayor of the city. Pauline from Donkey Kong. Now, Pauline has appeared also in the Donkey Kong versus Mario games, or Mario versus Donkey Kong games, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
But other than that, she's never really appeared in a mainline Mario game. This is the first time, I think, that she's appeared in one of the mainline Mario games. Yeah. I think that's very interesting.
I'd like to see a fight between her and Peach break out.
Maybe. Who knows? Might be a cat fight at the end of it. But, I thought that was really cool that they're putting Pauline in this new Mario game as the mayor of New Donk City. So, that's neat. And that was the last thing they showed. Again, like I said, it was 25, 30 minutes. I get why they do the videos now for Nintendo, but I do kind of miss their conferences, and they did have some issues in their last couple conferences where they had some really bad technical issues with Wiimotes and things. So I understand why they switched over, but they showed some good games, and they made a really big announcement with Metroid Prime 4 that they didn't really say anything about. They just showed the screen with the logo.
It was so passing, oh, by the way, this they didn't really care that But it was just such a passing announcement. Like, oh, by the way, yeah, this now on to the next thing.
I'm really surprised they actually didn't put that at the very end of the trailer of the video.
They probably should have, to be honest with you.
Because nobody knew about it.
Yeah.
And that would, and of course, you don't get the audience reaction.
No.
If this had been, I think if they had been on stage like they used to do, they would have put it at the very end.
Yeah.
Because when that came up on screen, there would have been a loud pop from the audience. So, that was a rundown. I thought it was good. The games looked good. The announcements were good. The fact that they are working on something Pokemon, not just Pokemon Tournament, but they're actually working on a Pokemon game for the Switch.
Yeah.
Has me hopeful. The Yoshi game's new. That looked good.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the stuff we knew about Mario and Rabbids is new, but it was just somebody's at the door.
Yeah.
Mario and Rabbids is new, but it was just announced at, already in another conference, so it wasn't brand new news. But anyway, that's everything for Nintendo. I think we both liked it. I'd say Nintendo and Microsoft were at the top on those conferences. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you